Hello and welcome to the Discover Virginia Beach podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Trahan, your tour guide to the Virginia Beach area. If this is your first time listening, I am so glad you found this show. Each week, I publish a new interview with locals ranging from musicians, government officials, CEOs, artists, and much more. And my aim is simple. It's to help you discover, define, and then go out and do exactly what you're looking for during your next vacation, relocation, or outing to the Virginia Beach area. And if you're looking to join in on the conversation, take part in monthly giveaways, and get your hands on my custom event calendars, head on over to Facebook and send me a friend request. That's Joseph Trahan. And check out my Facebook group of nearly 50,000 fans of the Virginia Beach area. Don't worry about writing anything down. The links for each episode, along with the Facebook groups, will be in the description below and also in the show notes. All right, here's the show.
I'm excited, man. Let's get to it.
Perfect. Well, Brandon, could you share with us your early life and what led you to the world of music?
So growing up, my dad was a really, really good, famous photographer in the Hampton Roads area. He goes by the name of Artis Cephus. So basically early on, I was instilled with a camera. You know, it's basically like in my DNA, like I know how to work the ISO, exposures, apertures, and deal with different lighting. So growing up, seeing my dad, how he operated, how he maneuvered, and ran his business was something that I always idolized. You know, he got to work from the comfort of his home. He got to dictate his schedule. He got to travel with work. You know, he was able to use credentials to get to the sports games and things like that. So growing up early on, I kind of saw just how he maneuvered. And that was something that I really wanted to emulate. And I always knew that I wanted to basically work smarter and not harder. So seeing him kind of, bring that into fruition just opened my eyes to a different perspective on business and how I view life. So that was really a main part of my childhood. So from then, I went through the school, middle school, high school. In high school, I actually started up my own t-shirt line. It was called 100 Degrees Clothing. And it wasn't nothing, major, but it was something that, made me feel good, got my feet wet as far as the business world, understanding supply and demand and marketing, and just try to build something from the ground up was something that I took very dearly. And, it didn't really pan out too long because I ended up going to college and got wrapped up in things like that. And so I always knew that I just wanted to kind of work for myself and just have that comfort of being able to, dictate my own schedule. So from the t-shirts, I ended up going to school. I went to a school in South Carolina, ended up doing about a year and a half there, coming back home, finishing up at TCC. So I have my associates in small business management and entrepreneurship. And I just felt like the degree, if I'm gonna make use of it, I might as well actually jump into a field, where my degree is in. And so that's kind of how I came about the entrepreneurship. So being home at TCC for a couple years really just opened my eyes to being okay, you're 20 years old, you don't have really too much direction going on, but you understand what you want to accomplish in life. And so I got big into the whole crypto wave, back in 2016. This is before, this is back when you would say Bitcoin and people look at you like you got four eyes on your head,
Yeah.
And so I dove real deep into that crypto world. It was a crazy run I had with that crypto. And so from that, I ended up taking it and building up my recording studio, Artis Recording Studios. And I love music. I have a true passion for music. Music has gotten me through a lot of dark times, a lot of happy times, energetic. Music brings people together. just like sports and entertainment, music is right there. And I had a passion for music, but I didn't make music. So when people ask me, "Oh, you have a recording studio, you make music, you make beats," and I'm, "Nah, I'm just a businessman." I just, I saw supplies, saw demand, and I felt like it was a good thing to accomplish and bring to the area of Virginia Beach. And it wasn't too many recording studios in the area, but I knew a lot of people who enjoyed recording music. So, you put two and two together, and you get to it. And so that's how the recording studio came about. And yeah, man, like me and my partner, Marcel, we probably about 3 months. Once we found a space, probably took about 2 to 3 months of renovations and getting all the equipment in there. And then, from there, it was just kind of just being able to continue to market, and just get it out there as much as possible for people to see and hear.
Yeah, Brandon, I am really inspired by your story. Before we get into the business side, I would like to back up just a bit. So
Yeah.
you have this really sounds like a very memorable childhood where you had in your view lens as the best example for a business and entrepreneur, your father that you sounds like you've
Right.
looked up to. And do you have any fond memories or moments where you guys maybe got to do a project together or work together that really instilled the values? Because I mean, you're only 25. I mean, you're killing it in the business world, and I get it. Like people are like, wait, where's your music? You're like, I'm a businessman. I did crypto.
Right.
I'm building my own industry. Like that in and of itself is impressive, and that's not something most people can normally see visually, like as opposed to a song. So
Right.
take us back to that moment. Are there any moments or lessons that you learned along the way with your father?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of lessons I've learned. We've done multiple projects together. Our main thing is weddings. So I've probably been to over damn near 75 to 100 weddings in my
Wow.
life, if not more. And so just watching him, seeing how he operates with the camera, understanding that communication is very important being a photographer, because when you have that camera in front of you, people are expecting you to direct and to lead. So having that camera really taught me the importance of being able to communicate with people, like, hey, like, shift over here. Like, hey, can we get a picture? Like, what I'm saying? You got to be very vocal, and you have to be almost not demanding, but a little aggressive, if that makes sense. Not too aggressive, but just enough for them to be like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing, you know? Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Just being direct and intentional, especially as you mentioned before, focusing on the supply and demand aspect of business, I'm sure really translates well to a wedding, because you
Yeah.
have this one moment to capture an entire experience that has a lot
Right.
of pressure, and you have to be, direct and vocal with those for back of a later example, that supply and demand of photography, because
Right.
you only have so much battery, you only have so much daylight time that you can capture this moment.
Yep.
There's only one ceremony.
And that's the main thing right there. I like how you pointed that out. You only get this moment one time. This, if you miss the shot, you can't go back the next day and recreate that. Once the wedding's over, it's over. And so the only thing that they have, to remember this beautiful event is the pictures, and if you got video. Like, so it was a lot of pressure as a photographer. And I understand. I still help out my dad occasionally. And like, it's a lot of weight on your shoulders, man, and you can't miss a step at all. So that taught me the importance of just being very persistent, consistent, and just accurate, like, with your approach, and understanding that you only have one opportunity to make this right. So shoot as much as you can, and go back and edit later.
Absolutely. There's power in
Yeah.
the editing for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you know quite a bit about that.
Yeah, I
Last
know about photo and video. I edit it all.
I love that. Last question before we dive into the business part, Brandon, I'd love for you to share, because obviously you're looking out from the past. You're looking at the past from the present. Would you mind
Mhm.
taking us back to that moment? Maybe highlight any specific challenges or obstacles that came about that you really had to form some pillars that have led
Mhm.
and built what it is you have today, with any specific experiences or moments in general where you were shooting on the fly, maybe under pressure, that you learned a pivotal foundation for the way in which you built your business now.
Um, well, I've had a couple experiences with photo and video. One example, man, it's crazy just talking about it. But I shot the wedding, I got all my clips, um, backed it up on my hard drive, and going through the editing process. I mean, like editing a wedding is like, dude, it's time. It's so much time. And it's like just persistent, like just being on your camera screen, looking the whole day, hearing the same song over and over again, like seeing the same clip. It's a lot. But this one time I had did a wedding for someone, and I got to the very end, like I was about to export this video, and my hard drive just crashed.
Oh
Like
no.
it just crashed. And that moment right there almost like destroyed me. Like, cause the wedding video itself was maybe 14, 15 minutes long. And you're talking about all that work that you put in to make it this beautiful project. And out of nowhere, just you got to start over, and you got to start over quick because it's already been about a month and a half since the wedding. So you don't want to wait too long. With that turnaround time. So I didn't even have, I maybe had a day to kind of gather myself and understand that, this is real, this is reality, and just got back to it. And I had to, because my hard drive crashed, so it had all the original files on it too. So now I'm not even thinking about recreating the video. I don't even have the files to recreate it.
Sure. Yeah, because it was
So
all in one place.
yeah, it was all in on my hard drive. And this is when I learned that you need to back it up twice. You need to keep the photos on your camera. Like before you format your cards on your camera, you need to have two hard drives to back it up on. Thank God I ended up going back on my camera, and I pulled up the files, and I still had the footage on the files on the camera. So that's what saved me. Had I not had that card, or I formatted it, dude, I probably would have got sued. And that's real stuff. Like you can't, that's someone's biggest day of their life. Like, what do you mean you lost the footage? Like they don't want to hear that,
Right,
So,
right. Because from an
um,
outside lens in,
yeah,
it's
yeah, they're
always
like,
there. Once you snap
right,
the picture, it should always exist
right. Like,
forever, right?
what do you mean
Yeah,
you lost it? So, and I didn't want to contact them and stress them out. Like they're already stressed out enough.
sure.
So that was a rude awakening for me, understanding that like as soon as you come home, just back up everything. Um, I want to say another experience with the studio. We had one location before the location we at now. We had a previous location. That previous location got shut down. Like something happened with the landlord, and he was just kind of just off the wall type, and we had to leave. Like we had like maybe 7 days to pack up all of our stuff and like
Wow, really?
just move it. Yeah, this was the first location, and I think it took about 6 months, 6 7 months, just to find a new location and then renovate it and then do all of that. So that was a big challenge for us. Um, just trying to find a space, um, not knowing if this was something that we still wanted to pursue, and kind of just wash our hands with it, call it quits.
Sure. Because I
Um,
mean, when you Google search, you can't Google search studio for recording artist in Hampton
right,
Roads and get like 50 options. You can Google search
exactly,
like commercial real estate and maybe get a handful of options that are weirdly shaped office buildings that smelled horrible and will need a
right.
lot of time and effort to go into it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're on Craigslist, rent.com. Like, I mean, and then a lot of people, there was a lot of spaces available, but a lot of them didn't want recording studios, like specifically. Like, I don't know if it's like a noise factor or like a neighbor's complaint, but we ended up finding a space. It's worked out pretty good. Landlord's pretty chill. He has his moments, but I think we all do. But yeah, I mean, that process right there, from shifting from one studio to another, was very challenging and difficult for us. But perseverance, you just keep going. You can't stop. That's one thing I've learned, man, is like, no matter what problems are going to occur, because I mean, we're all human, like problems are going to happen, flat tires, might gotta go to the doctors, like you name it, like life be life and sometimes, So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think the ultimate thing is, man, is just keep going and don't ever quit, don't ever stop. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, regardless of how dim it might be.
Yeah, Brennan, and your work ethic is definitely a testament to that specific, thought process through business of just figuring out the next best thing,
Right.
even though it may not be perfect. I'd love to know from you, Brennan. So, you've been at the helm of Artis Recording Studios for over 4 years now.
Right.
What were the key motivations or driving forces that propelled you to create the recording studio in spite of all of these, what many people would seem as like, hey, these are red flags that it's not a secure industry to be in, or perhaps the
Yeah.
naysayers that say, look, you've already put X number of hours of time into this, it's a
Yeah.
sunk cost, this is a sunk cost fallacy, you should give up now. What
Right.
propelled you to keep moving forward?
Oh man, just my desire for music. It was something in the community that was, propelling a lot of people, inspiring a lot of people. I've had countless amount of people, artists, producers come in and just thank me, like, I can't do this at my home. My neighbors get too mad when they hear the bass blaring, so I can't, make beats at home whenever I want to. So allowing me to come in studio and just have my space, my privacy, and being able to kind of blare the speakers as loud as I can, it helps out a lot. So I felt like we were doing a good service for the community and trying to just inspire people who wanted to make music, come in our studio and actually take it serious. We have top of the line equipment. You don't got to worry about no noise complaints. You don't got to worry about no neighbors. Mom and dad telling you turn it down. So it was really doing a lot of good for the community. A lot of people were, just wanting to come to the recording studio, make music, and just stay out of trouble.
Absolutely, Brandon. And it's so interesting to see just the dynamic and changes that have happened in Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach area, just over the past, 20 years since we hit 2000 and the digital age. The music scene and the city has grown exponentially. We're up to almost let me make sure I'm saying this correctly, 1 million people, 1 million local residents here in the Hampton Roads area.
Yes, yes.
And it's just amazing to think of just how much growth has occurred and how much
Yeah.
opportunity has come about in spite of those traditional views of a studio, right, of the
Right.
disturbance, because it is more than just noise. It's an art process. It's
Yeah.
a rhythm, and of course, in a lot of ways, it is a testament to the past for a
Right.
lot of other individual stories and how they were
Mhm.
told. And music is a way that we can transport our history and keep moving it forward for
Right.
for all walks of life.
Yep.
Absolutely. So, Brandon, for you, as you have continued to grow the studio and bring folks in from all different types of performances, would you
Right.
mind walking us through a typical day in your life? Obviously, they're not all the same, but I
Mhm.
understand you put a lot of thought and work into the process, into the grind, so to speak. What does an average day look like for you?
All right. So first thing I do, I wake up. Um, Try to wake up around like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. Go to the gym. That's like the first thing I love to do, because I feel like when you go to the gym first thing in the morning, it just does something about the day moving forward. So I love going first thing in the morning, going to the gym.
Yeah.
come home, take a shower, eat, do all of that. That probably takes about maybe an hour or two. I'll go to the studio, kind of sit in there and just really just work off my laptop. I'm always researching new things. Sometimes it doesn't even have to be with the studio. Like I'm still into crypto. Like I still do my research on that. I got like my own little office in there, and just really just make a lot of calls, answer the phone a lot. A lot of people call in our studio. Um, Really kind of just, talk to my parents, of course. Like, my a typical day for me is not really too exciting, I should say. But I'm very spontaneous, so like I might wake up one day and be like, I want to go to DC, and I might do that. But for the most part, I'm like 9 times out of 10, I'm always in the studio. Even if I'm not doing anything studio related, I'm just there because it just gives me a better headspace than being at home and trying to accomplish work there. So I'll just go in the studio and I might sit there for 8, 9 hours just on my laptop, researching, making calls, figuring out new ways to expand the business. And, there's a lot of things that we have in store that we want to accomplish with the studio. So just always brainstorming. I'm always brainstorming and researching.
I love that, Brandon. And for our non-entrepreneurial, self-made business owners, that is very typical of a business owner, especially in the 21st century. There are a lot of moving parts and plates and just pieces of the business that move around. And for those of you listening that are not in that space, that's totally fine too. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I definitely realize, especially in Hampton Roads, in the Virginia Beach area, especially in my own business, just pulling inspiration doesn't have to be in a 8 to 5, 9 to 5 office space. It can be in a studio, at a coffee shop, or looking at those future plans for your business.
Right.
Speaking of future plans, Brandon, are there any aspirations that you have for your studio? Any upcoming projects or expansions that you're particularly excited about that you would be willing to share with us?
So we have a couple things in the works. We are trying to plan like a collaboration with Virginia Beach City Public Schools, and we basically want to allow high school students who have a passion for music, producing, allow them to basically come to the studio and be able to just really learn. Because we've caught like during the studio, like right now, like typically not a lot of people are there, you know? So this is a good time to offer that to students who get out of school pretty early to come in, do what they have to do and really just, like I said, inspiration part, there's a lot of people that have a lot of talents out here in them. You just have to find what your lane is, find what your passion is, and do your best to bring it out of you, turn that passion into profit. That's my favorite saying, is turn your passion into profit. If you love making art, there's a way to make money in that.
Sure,
Whether
absolutely.
it's whether you're just in your room and you have a little iPhone tripod and you just do a time lapse of you just painting, just painting different portraits, you can gain a following. You keep uploading on TikTok and Instagram, there's going to be people out there that take an interest in what you have going on, So that's very important.
I love that.
I forgot the main.
Sorry, what was that, Brandon?
I forgot the main. I was getting off track there.
You're all good, brother. I really appreciate you sharing that. And for our listeners who may be wanting to learn more, would you mind showcasing and sharing where your facility is at specifically? And then, of course, what type of products and services that you offer? And then now that you mentioned students as well, if there's any age range or possibly type of music or experience folks can expect when they come to your studio and visit you and create art there.
Okay, yeah. So we're located at 500 Central Drive, Suite 110, Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's right across the street from Lynn Haven Mall. As far as the students aspect, that's still in the works.
Sure.
We are trying to probably accomplish that probably by I want to say like the second half of the semester. So I think that's like around January, February area. So we're still working with that, and you know, really just if your kid has a passion, like if he, even if he just wants to come in and check it out, see if it'd be a good fit. We've had a lot of like consultations where people would just show up and just see if it's a good fit, because we don't discriminate nobody, no age, no race, no gender, no genre, and we have people of all walks of life come in, make music. We've had people come in and do audiobooks. Um, we've had someone come in and do like a marriage, like a best man speech,
Oh,
something like
interesting.
that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Some people just need MP3 files. Like they don't want to record music; they just need the MP3 file of things. So we really do it all. And if you have any questions, feel free to call us 757-301-0950. And really just ask questions. I'm here to answer any questions that may occur, and that's what I'm here for. That's my job as business owner.
That's incredible, Brandon. Not many guests are willing and able to pick up the phone and talk with folks. So I'll definitely put that in the link in the description below for folks to check out. But just go check out Brandon, get a tour, see what he's got going on over there. I know you mentioned this earlier. I have one more question before we switch over to the community section because
Okay.
as with any guest, we want to talk about the community involvement as well. For
Mhm.
you, Brandon, how do you see the landscape of music changing, especially in the studio genre, as we see more influence from AI technology and automated
Yeah.
systems and such like that. And then, of course, I'd love to know from you: do you think it adds to the creative element, or does it take away from the creative nature of creating and producing? We'll use in this case specifically for music
Right.
in general.
Um, the landscape of the music scene out here is, because I get to see it firsthand. So it's, man, I don't know what word to describe it. I would say it's promising. It's very promising. Compared to like when we first started, you definitely don't see as many uh of the same artists kind of coming through. You have people that are very consistent and very
Sure.
passionate about their craft, and then you have people that kind of just come in like, oh, I just want to record something, and 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 there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to make a song, by all means, come in and make a song. But as far as like the music scene and people who actually take it seriously and people who actually have a real passion and a real talent and want to make it to the big leagues, it's I, the main thing is marketing. The main thing is marketing. I think a lot of people shy away from marketing. A lot of people just think they can come into the studio, record a song, record a video, and then just drop it on YouTube and Instagram and just think they're gonna blow up overnight.
They'll go
Like
viral. Yeah.
yeah, like it doesn't work like that anymore. Can it work? Yes. However, you're basically, you're swinging for the fences at that point. And I think that if more people understood the business and the marketing side of music, a lot of people would be better off. It's important, and this is something that I'm learning as I'm going in life, and I'm seeing it. And when it comes to marketing, social media exposure is everything. And it's crazy because you don't even necessarily have to be good anymore. Like the music nowadays that's getting thrown out there, in my opinion, it's here today, gone tomorrow, you
Sure.
know?
You're another Island Boys duo. Sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, and there's like specifics that I don't even want to, mention that I'm like, okay, like 4 months ago you were hot, and then I was just talking to my homeboy yesterday. I'm like, yo, you heard about like I haven't heard nothing from what's his name anymore. And you're like, yeah, he fell off. Like that's the first thing people think. Oh yeah, he fell off, and it's like I don't know. Like I just feel like out here in the Hampton Roads area, we just need that one person to really solidify himself or herself into the music industry and be able to come back and shine a light on what we have going on out here. Kind of
Yep.
almost lend a
Yep.
helping hand. There's a lot of people that are doing great things that are from out here that you would have no idea are even from here. Like,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
like you would have no idea that they're from here. Like someone just sent me I think his name is Carnival. He's an artist. He like does remixes, anything. And I'm like, yo, he's from here? This dude has like 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify. He has like 900,000 on Instagram. And I'm like, you telling me he's from Virginia Beach and I've never heard of him? Like, so it's a lot of people that are from the area doing great things. However, we need someone, we need that Atlanta influence, we need that New York, that South Florida influence where you have someone that kind of comes up out the city, but shines a light like, yo, I'm from Virginia Beach. Like, this is what we got going on out here. Almost like how Young Thug represents Atlanta and Lil Baby represents Atlanta. And
Right.
like, these people come from these areas. We don't have an artist that you can look at and be like, oh, yeah, he's from the Hampton Roads, 757.
Right.
And at times people be like, oh, well, we got Missy Elliott, we got Pharrell, we got Pusha T, we got Timbaland. And yes, we do. Those are some major icons in the area, like legends,
Absolutely.
However, that was 20 years ago, and times are changing, technology is changing, how people view and listen to music is changing. So it's like we need that one star to blow up and really shine a light back on Virginia and what we have going on out here. Because we have talent, but it's the marketing, man. You got to get in front of these social media pages. You have to do the Spotify playlisting. You have to do the YouTube reactions,
Yeah.
the
You have to show
TikTok
up.
reactions. You just got to
Absolutely.
keep being seen, and
Right.
eventually people will be inclined to click on your music. It was kind of like that situation. It was kind of like almost like Sexy Red. Like, I didn't, I would hear the music and I wasn't intrigued by it. But the more I kept seeing it and hearing it, I'm like, okay, like, let me go listen to one or two songs.
Right. Because you
And I'm
you
like,
were inundated by that clip, that 5 or 6 second hook that really got
yes.
you thinking about it. It became an
I'm like,
earworm, so to
okay,
speak. Yeah.
exactly. So I'm like, you know what? Like, that song sounds pretty good. Like, let me go listen to it. And so I just feel like people just have to keep being seen, understand that social media exposure is everything in today's society. And then even if you do get a little buzz, you have to keep that flame lit because people's attention spans are very
Very short.
slim
Very
nowadays.
short. Yep.
Even with just TikTok. I mean, you have literally a second or two to capture someone's attention to keep them watching the video, And so that's the main thing is marketing. People spend too much focus on actually making a song and going into a studio and, getting their friends to record it and then just dropping it on platforms. It's like, bro, it's like, yeah, you can do that if you're just trying to appeal to, your couple thousand followers on Instagram. But, if I take you and we go up to Charlotte, what I'm saying? People have never heard of you.
Right.
And it's like, who are you really trying to appeal for? Like, are you just trying to do this to be the popping out your city? Or are you actually trying to go on tour, like a 20, 30 state city tour
Right.
and actually like make a living off of this?
Yeah. Build a
You,
business, start the brand. Absolutely. Yeah.
like, people have to ask themselves these questions. And if you're not trying to take it serious, then it's just really up to you, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely. And Brandon, you touched on something I want to highlight for our listeners here, because as you mentioned before, the music scene is very ripe. There's
Mhm.
lots of opportunities here in the area. I mean, recently I was lining up everyone for season 2 of this podcast, and I actually bumped into a couple of musicians we're having on the show.
Okay.
From DJs to folk singers, and studio producers like yourself that
Right.
are in this landscape and can kind of speak to this. But social media portrays this idea that a one-hit wonder is the way to build a business, but it's actually doing exactly what you have been talking about this whole time, which is putting in the reps, taking as many photos as you can, seizing the opportunity to back up that hard drive,
Yep.
to taking that opportunity to learn from that elder, that wiser business person who has done the reps, who
Yep.
understands how exactly to do the business and not to
Hmm.
do the business. Which is all that to say, a great service that I think you should definitely want to highlight for you, Brandon, for folks who are listening and are like, hey, I want to, even if it's just an audiobook or recording a song, like having somebody like yourself with your expertise to really pour into that song or that
Hmm.
production is definitely going to far exceed anybody's, input as far as like how much is a production cost,
Right.
how much does it cost to produce it versus how do we extend this for the life of your brand and your business that you're building. So
Exactly. That's very important, man. It's just marketing. Like I have a strong passion for marketing. That's what I'm learning about myself is that I don't want to be in front of the camera. I don't want to be in front of the limelight. I'm the behind the scenes guy. I'm the ones that kind of connect the dots together, from one person to another person. Like I have a lot of resources. I've met a lot of great people over the years. And the importance of all of that is just to be a genuine person, like when people have empathy for people, understand that like this person may be going through some things. That's why they're lashing out, or just understanding your environment that you're living in, and just respecting one another, man. That's something I've learned early on. My dad did 20 years in the Navy, so it was always yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am, always holding the doors for people, always respect your elders. So I just grew up in that type of mindset where it's just important to just be a good person. Being a good person can get you in a lot of opportunities than having money, because you can have all the
absolutely.
money in the world, but if you're an a-hole and no one wants to work with you, then who cares how much money you have? Like I've met plenty of people who, had the funds, had the resources to do something, but they just weren't appealing people to work with, So I think that's very important too. Just being a good person, having respect for people and empathy, man. That's the key right there. It's really the empathy part.
Absolutely. And
Listen,
that's, yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
you're
One
good.
thing
Go
I've
ahead.
learned, so my neighbor he did about, I think he did like 25 years in the Navy. I just went to his retirement ceremony maybe a couple months ago. And one thing that he said that stuck out to me was you have to listen with an importance of actually listening instead of listening with an intention of responding.
Mm,
So
yeah,
a lot of people in times is like when I'm talking or when they're talking to me, I've even caught myself being a victim of this. But when they're talking to me, I'll be more inclined to itch to just say my response instead of actually listening to what they're saying and taking it in, So having two open ears is also very important. Just wanted to point that out as well.
absolutely. That is a great reminder and a great skill for any stage of life or business in general. Just being able to connect with people is truly in a lot of ways it's a lost skill, or it's a skill that
Mhm.
we always need developing and refining, especially as we teach the next generation of artists, business folks, and
Right.
students, as you mentioned. I'd love to, Brandon, if we still have a couple more minutes before you got to get back to the studio, I'd love to
Yeah.
highlight your community focus and everything you have going on there, because that is such a big part of your business. I'd love
Mhm.
to know, in what ways has the local community of Virginia Beach influenced the way you conduct your business, especially within the way you go about operating your recording studio?
Yeah, the community has been a major part in, the process of the business. Without the community, we don't have a business. So it's like, um, so I think the main thing that we do is we try to just make it beneficial for recording with us. We offer loyalty programs. So, if you come in, you spend a certain amount of money, we'll give you a free hour or two. that's an incentive for people to keep coming back because they know they're getting loyalty points, reward points, whatever you may call it. And so that keeps them at our studio. Because if you have, let's say you need 10 loyalty points and you have 6 loyalty points with us, why would you even look elsewhere to go to another studio when you're almost close to that 10 loyalty points with us?
Right.
And you'll get a free hour or two for your next recording session. So it's just like things like that, loyalty programs. We want to do a toy drive this year uh, for this Christmas. Another thing is community. We're trying to get into the something in the water. We've been trying to, finagle our way into that something in the water, like getting a little booth.
I hear you. I've sent thousands of DMs and emails to Pharrell and his team. So hopefully one day we can share the light, so to speak.
Yeah, man, that'd be huge. I'm actually very excited about that moving forward because that brings in a lot as far as just tourism, revenue for the city, revenue for the hotels, the landscapers, the janitor, like everyone like has a key role into that something in the water. And it's beautiful to kind of see like kind of how it's just grown over the years. So I mean, yeah, I definitely want to get involved with something in the water. I'm trying to think if there's any other things as far as community that we're doing. And then, like I said, with the Virginia Beach City Public Schools, I would consider that some community work.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really
Uh,
cool. I'm excited to hear about that more as you get further on in the process.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, that's really all we really have as far as now with with the community, and really just I mean every artist or producer that might come through, or even just regular people that just want to come in the studio. Like I'm able to connect with them face to face, and just really just establish real genuine relationships. You just never know when you might need someone down the line or what someone does that might be beneficial to you or the both of y'all. So
Absolutely.
that's
It's
very important.
more than just that one recording session, right? It's a
Oh,
business relationship. It's a new connection. Absolutely.
it's everything, man. It's everything. You want to leave a strong legacy in this world, because unfortunately everyone has a date, so we're limited on time here. So it's important that with your time, you are doing the things that's positive. You want to be looked at as in a positive light, so when everything's said and done, your legacy is the only thing you're going to have. How are people going to look at you when it's all said and done? You want people to talk very highly of you. Like, man, I remember I talked to Brandon. It was only for 2 minutes, but it was just something about that conversation that stuck with me. Little things like that. Like that goes a long way. That lets me know that I'm doing my part of just being a good person and just, being a good member of society.
Absolutely. Brandon, thank you for sharing that. And that is very inspiring. We really appreciate your time, especially here on the show today. We do have one last section for you if you have some time for some
I
rapid
got
fire
some time.
questions. These are rapid fire, quick and fast. Feel free to answer with as much or as little detail as you like. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
All righty. First question, vinyl or digital?
I'm gonna have to go vinyl.
All righty. Vinyl it is. Your
Vinyl.
favorite genre to work with?
I'm really loving the trap soul side of music. So almost like R&B and hip hop meshed together.
Would it be fair to call it the trapped soul, or trap and soul are separate?
Probably trap soul would be separate.
Separate. Gotcha.
Yeah, I love and of course R&B.
Love it. Love it. Are you more of an early bird or an night owl at the studio?
Night owl. Night owl at the studio. Yeah. But I'm an early bird in general. Like I wake up early, like I said, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely. Gotta hit the gym, right?
Gotta get the day going, man. Gotta be productive.
Next one for you. One artist you dream of collaborating with, and I'll preface this since we already mentioned Pharrell and Something in the Water. We'll omit that one from the list, but any other
Mhm.
artist you'd be interested in collaborating with?
I would have to say Pharrell. Like, and I manage an artist right now, 808 Turn Up. I would love to send you some of his music too, when we get off of here, and just get an opinion on that. But I would love for 808 and Pharrell to link up, or even like Future, Drake, Pharrell, Future, Drake. I know it's a lot. Kanye.
No, that's okay. That's a good list.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Drake's new song about the way he talked about Virginia Beach, but I think there's probably a deeper meaning there that I haven't really carved into
Well,
yet.
you know what you
Do
know
you
what
have
the
any
meaning
insight?
is.
What's the
You know
meaning of
what the
that?
meaning is.
Let's hear it.
He first thing, Drake is very strategic, and he's a marketing genius. Drake knows
Sure.
what he's doing. Um if you really look at it, because it's probably been about 3 weeks since the album has dropped, and Virginia Beach is still in like the top 10 in Apple Music.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's like top 25 billboards. Drake basically took over the city without even mentioning Pusha T. Because when he dropped the track list for the song, I don't know if you remember, everyone was like, "Oh, first song is called Virginia Beach. Like, this is gonna be a diss to Pusha T. Like, oh man, he's about to start the album off already, firing shots." And then you listen to it and you're like, "Wait, what? Like, what? This ain't no diss to Pusha T." But now that time has played its course, I look back and I'm like, I know what Drake was doing. He was basically insinuating, look, I'm going to take over the city where you're from without even mentioning you. And I'm going to just name the title Virginia Beach. So when people think, so like, like from an outsider, if I tell someone, hey, like I'm from Virginia Beach, the first thing they're going to say is, oh, that
Drake
Drake
song.
song?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that Drake song. And he wants you to say that, you know? And then when you go to Virginia Beach, a lot of people are going to post the song in the background,
Yep.
them
Yep.
overlooking the beach, and it's going to be his music in the same city Pusha T is from. So that's the real insight behind that. Drake wanted to essentially take over the city without even stepping foot in here.
I really appreciate that, and I love that. I'm not even going to pretend to know the intricacies of that music genre. Most music genres, I'm just a casual listener of. But
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that, Brandon. At the end of the day, it goes back to marketing, right? The top of
marketing.
mind. I mean,
Yep,
when you're an international brand, you kind of have to be, right?
have to.
Next one for you. Most unusual sound that you've recorded.
Most unusual sound that I've recorded. I don't know about that one. I've heard a lot of unique sounds, but not a sound that I would just be like unusual. See, I don't produce and I don't engineer. So,
Sure, sure.
um, I've heard a couple beats that were like, "Oh, this is different, but I can't like remember the instruments itself like at the top of my head.
That's fair.
So,
That's fair. I get
yeah.
that. Next one for you. A song that's currently stuck in your head right now, or possibly a beat.
Probably, I got a couple. One of them is "Vulnerable" by Kodak Black. That song is amazing. Another one would be, "You Should" by Rilo Rodriguez, and then number B would be, "Calling for You" with Drake.
Calling for You by Drake. Love it.
Yeah.
And for you, Brandon, what's your favorite spot in Virginia Beach to just unwind and enjoy the city in its entirety?
I love, Orion's Roof,
Classic.
Tu yeah, Tulu downstairs. I love what they're doing over there by that Cavalier, district.
It's incredible. It's I think it's the top rated hotel 2023 experience right now. Just like five
Yeah.
stars all around. It's incredible.
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. And remember, Cavalier used to be a ghost town for like
Used to be a
years. They
ghost
just
hotel
decided,
too. Yeah.
yeah, they just decided to renovate that. So I'm glad they did that. But I love like summertime, man, going down to Tulu, like getting some drinks right there at the bar, and then just being able to just walk out into the ocean. And then they got a new spot right next door is Embassy Suites. They got like a taco bar and so I haven't been over there. And I've been to the Arbuckle restaurant. It's pretty good. It's pretty fire. So I love to go down there and unwind. Yeah, that's my happy place out here.
I
North
love
End.
that. Yeah, those are some great shares as well. We appreciate you sharing that. A lot of our folks who are listeners are tourists or planning a trip, and I always like to encourage people to check out even during the winter months because there is so many great accommodations that exist to do
Yep.
indoors that it kind of makes sense to even though you can't go to the beach, with 75-degree weather, it's still worth a visit for sure.
Exactly.
One word to describe your studio vibe.
Ooh. Aesthetically pleasing. If that's
Aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, I would do aesthetically pleasing.
Love it.
I know it's two
And
words.
that's okay. We'll mash
Yeah.
them together for you.
Right.
And last one for you. Dream vacation destination.
Dream vacation, probably maybe I would say, man, there's so many, right? I think the biggest one right now would maybe be I want to say Dubai, like Saudi Saudi Arabia. I don't know about vacation though. I would say Ibiza.
Ibiza.
Ibiza, yeah, Spain. I heard that place is pretty dope.
Love it. Love it. Well, hopefully you get to go there hopefully sooner rather than later for you, Brandon. And thank you
Right.
so much again for this conversation. It's been wonderful. I'd like to roll out the virtual red carpet for you. This is your time to share anything you'd like to highlight, promote, or leave for last remarks for our listeners. The floor is all yours.
Oh, okay. Appreciate this interview, Joe. Definitely means a lot for you to have me. I'm honored, I'm blessed, and I'm grateful. I like to take the time to shout out my recording studio, Artis Recording Studios, VA, on Instagram. All of our information is in the Instagram. Also like to give a shout out to my artist, 808 Turn 'em Up. Listen to his music, Apple Music and Spotify. You will not be disappointed. And yeah, that's it. Shout out to the city of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and 757.
Love it. And with that said, Brandon, thank you for your time. And thank you to our dedicated listeners for checking out another episode of season 2 of Discover Virginia Beach podcast, where we're setting out to discover everything the Virginia Beach area has to offer. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have found any value or you have any comments about the questions I'm asking, feel free to leave me some love or some criticisms in the comment section below. Love to know anything I can do to improve that. And with that said, we hope to see you all in another episode very soon.